Well, good evening. Monday evening at that. hmm And today we're going to talk about James Toliver Craig. Anyone who has been following Twitter or the social medias and all over will know that this is the name of the dentist who's being accused of poisoning his wife, Angela. And it is a mess. It's Well, the arrest affidavit, just to let you know how detailed it is 52 pages. So we're going to go over some of it today. Going to introduce you to the men and tell you what they're accusing him of and what they have on him. On another update, we'll go into some more of the details that are going back and forth, the correspondence that he's had, all of the things. But right now, this is just alleged. Remember, he's just been arrested and charged. Angela Craig was taken off life support, I believe, on March 19th after being quickly taken ill in the weeks prior. Been in the hospital 3 times for dizziness and uh, not being able to breathe, confusion, lethargy, all kinds of things. Suddenly coming upon her from out of nowhere. Uh, they have 6 children together. Um, they were married, I believe. Let me just go back to the beginning. They were married in 1999, so they've been together for quite some time. And they have 6 children. 3 of those children are under the age of 18, which makes 3 of them adults. Okay. If you're reading the social medias, you'll know that there's comments from everyone, sisters, partners, neighbors, churchgoers. The children kind of contest some of the stuff that's coming out that he says happened, because they saw no side of it. There's a lot of controversy here back and forth. It's a lot of well, everyone else never saw anything, but this is what he's saying, type of thing. Mm. And I want to thank Always Createful before we get started for keying me in on some of the great details on this case. Um, this is out of, I believe this is out of Aurora, Colorado. I don't believe the hometown, but I know it's District 18 in Colorado that's carrying it. I know that to get the actual court documents have to be released because the Colorado in that district only deals with third parties in regards to court documentation, which means they're all pay for service types accounts. You have to register and they all have different types of guidelines. Um, which I think we're going to do the go around. Yeah, it's Aurora, Colorado. Right. Thank you. Thank you. I got that one right. I feel good. If I get I'm really bad with geography. Everyone knows this. So if I get that right, I'm happy. I'm glad to see a lot of you coming in. I know that reading affidavits can be quite boring, so I'll try to make it as exciting as possible. But I need to introduce you to him in the simplest way. And I don't want to do a personal expose on a man that I really don't know. So we're going to start with what they're actually accusing him of. I think that's fair, don't you? And it's all alleged, of course, right now. This is the actual affidavit. Um, and for you true, for those of you that would like to read along or it's too tiny, here, I've opened up the link to the drive for that affidavit. So there you go. You can see the same thing that I'm putting up here. You can keep it personally on your files to review later. Remember, this is the first look that we get at any evidence that they have on him and how they're building the case. Okay. This is from the Aurora Police Department. It has the case number. It's been authored by Detective Olson, who is the lead on this case. Okay. The county in Colorado that will be handling this district is Arapahoe. Okay. And it just starts that this complaint in writing under note has been made, and it appears that there are reasonable grounds to believe that between March 6th this year, 2023, through March 15th, 2023, at the location of 6795 South Robertsdale Way in the city of Aurora, in said county and the state of Colorado, James Toliver Craig did then and there commit the crime of first-degree murder after deliberation, as that crime is defined by CRS 183102, which is the statute there, respectively, and as further set forth in the complaint attached here to made a part of. Okay, so they are now, this was the part of the arrest warrant. This is them just setting that he will have no bond. Okay. So then, as the affidavit of what the probable cause actually consists of, okay, the detective, Bobby Olson, will swear under oath all of the said facts, and we're going to go through here. That they said that he did commit the crime of first-degree murder after deliberation, which means with great intent, okay? The affiant, Bobby Olson, is a police detective with the City of Aurora Police Department and has been employed since July 2013. And the only reason I read that part is to let you know this is a versed officer. He's been around for more than 10 years doing all of this. So this is going to be a pretty comprehensive affidavit. Okay. I'm not going to read everything on that statement because I think you're more interested in what they have on him. Okay. Okay, so here we start. The facts below are based on personal knowledge and or interviews with witnesses and fellow officers and or review of official law enforcement reports. In other words, it's all going to be compromised together by everything that he has known to interview himself, seen himself, witnessed by other officers, and then told to him or through official documentation and reports. On March 15th, 2023, at approximately 11:08, victim Angela Craig presented herself to University Hospital because she had a severe headache and was experiencing dizziness. Angela was accompanied by her brother, redacted, and later met by her husband. At approximately 2 o'clock, Angela experienced a seizure and began to rapidly decline medically. Eventually, she was placed on life support in the intensive care unit. Hospital medical personnel could not find a known medical condition that would have caused Angela's rapid medical decline. The officer was told James was a dentist who worked at Summerbrook Dental Group. James was business partners with Redacted, who's also a dentist. Ryan and his wife are friends with James and Angela. On March 15th, 2023, James communicated with via a text. This is very heavily redacted. He communicated via a text message from his cell phone and informed redacted person that Angela had been admitted to University Hospital and her condition was grave. And they both responded to University Hospital. At the hospital, redacted spoke with one of the attending nurses regarding his suspicion that Angela was the possible victim of poisoning. Redacted person explained to the nurse that James recently ordered potassium cyanide for the dental practice. As a mandatory reporter, the nurse called the police and an investigation ensued. Now, I'm not going to say who the redacted person is, but they obviously had indicated in here, by the way that they are writing it, that it is a partner of his dental practice and that he was concerned based on his actions for his wife. The Major Crime Homicide Unit was contacted and took over the investigation. On March 16th, in the early morning hours, the officer spoke at the Aurora Police Department headquarters where they had volunteered to talk with the affiant. Now, based on stuff that I've seen all over social media, that was the actual one of the partners of the dental practice actually coming forward and voluntarily giving a statement as to everything that he witnessed at the practice in as far as behaviors of James and why they were concerned that this may be a poisoning. Okay. Blank began by saying he and James had been business partners since August of 2022 when Ryan acquired James' dental practice, which had been struggling financially. Now, based on the affidavit and the failure to actually redact the first name in certain places, do you guys mind if I fill in the blank with Ryan in the redaction? Or would you prefer that I just keep saying blank? It appears to me when I read it, and correct me if you guys think that's a little too much, but they are clearly talking about someone named Ryan who is a with the dental practice. And I don't want to out anybody, but it's clearly there in black and white. I'm reading it. Okay. He's no longer in the same practice. So we do want to protect his privacy as much as possible. Okay. But what do you think always? Yeah, I think since it's here in black and white, I don't think I'm really violating anything. I don't want to make it worse for anybody. But this man has put out an affidavit and he is going to be part of the court case. It's going to be out sooner or later. And I don't really I don't know. It just seems ridiculous because they keep forgetting to redact part of it. Okay. Um they went to school together. He described him as a risk taker and found out he had filed for bankruptcy in 2021 and on the verge of bankruptcy again, and stated that in January, James confided in him, telling him that he and Angela were having marital problems. So now they not only have that he has actually ordered cyanide, but also that he's having marital problems. Okay. hmm Yep. On March 15th, Liam, you're cracking me up. Please, I can't. I have to read. Stop. On March 15th, 2023, because this is actually serious. Like I'm really annoyed like with this man. Uh if everything that we read is actually good and solid evidence here, I'm quite taken with this case. Like this is like stunning to me. On March 15th, the office manager of the practice contacted Ryan via phone as he was driving to University Hospital to be with James. He was contacted by another office manager. That on March 6th, the day Angela first became sick and went to Parker Adventist, she was working late at the dental office and James returned to the office after hours. This person observed James at the exam room computer with the lights off doing something on the computer. And this was odd because James had his own office with his own computer and personal laptop he regularly took to and from the office. Approximately 30 minutes after James left the dental office, he texted blank, telling her, this is the office personnel, that he would be receiving a personal package and told her not to open it. The package arrived for James on Monday, March 13th. And they found the package had been opened. Caitlin said she found out that another employee had opened the package, forgetting that James was getting a package. She looked inside, and inside the package, she said she saw a biohazard sticker that said potassium cyanide on a circular canister. Realized that the package was for James, resealed it, packed it back up, and then gave it to James. Said person later Googled what potassium cyanide was used for and saw that Angela had the same symptoms. Caitlin called Jacqueline when she heard Angela was back in the hospital on March 15th and told her about the contents of the package. These are office managers talking to each other. Blank arrived at University Hospital in separate vehicles, but entered the hospital together. Upon arriving, they spoke briefly to James, but he received a phone call from a doctor, so he stepped away. While James was on the phone, the nurse came out to speak with them and stated when James was on the phone, he pulled the nurse away and told the nurse about his concerns that Angela may have been poisoned with potassium cyanide. This is the people involved with him in the dental practices informing the healthcare professionals that they believed that Angela was poisoned. James did not inform them. While at the hospital, they observed James meeting with doctors about Angela's prognosis, and they observed James crying after the meeting, and then they left the hospital and returned to their own vehicle. While in their vehicle, they received a call from James's personal cell phone. The phone connected to the vehicle's Bluetooth so that everyone could hear the conversation. James told blank he had heard some disturbing information and then asked if he had said anything to the hospital staff. Blank admitted that he talked to the hospital staff about this incident. Ryan advised that he was aware of the package that James had ordered. James replied that the package was a ring for Angela and that he wanted to surprise her. Ryan countered by telling James he knew it was not a ring. James claimed the package was never opened. So Ryan couldn't know what was in it. Ryan advised that the package was definitely opened and it didn't contain a ring. Ryan asked James why he would buy potassium cyanide. James eventually recanted and admitted the package contained potassium cyanide, but claimed that Angela asked him to order it. James claimed that Angela couldn't order the potassium cyanide because she didn't have the proper credentials. James told Ryan he ordered the potassium cyanide, but he didn't think she, being Angela, would actually take it. James described the situation as being similar to a game of chicken at that point, and Ryan told James to stop talking and get a lawyer. The officer and Detective Graw then interviewed Michelle, who provided a similar account of events as her husband, Ryan. Okay. Michelle told the affiant that Angela had first become sick on March 6th. Angela went to Parker Adventist Hospital and was released the same day. Angela reported she was dizzy and weak. Angela fell ill again and returned to Parker Adventist Hospital on March 9th. Angela was admitted on March 9th and released on March 14th. Medical personnel were unable to determine what was causing Angela to have her symptoms. Michelle stated the next day, March 15th, at approximately 11 a.m., Angela was brought to University Hospital by her brother. Michelle added that she had exchanged texts with James since Angela was admitted to Parker Adventist on March 9th, trying to keep up to date with Angela's medical condition. She stated she was a professor and had a PhD in nursing, so she asked James to keep her updated on Angela's symptoms to potentially assist in diagnosing her. She provided the affiant with screenshots of the text exchange between her and James beginning on March 9th. The officer confirmed the contact Jim Craig in the cell phone was James's number. The affiant reviewed the text messages. The blue boxes outline Michelle's text, and the white boxes outline James's responses in reference to Angela's medical condition. Now, you could see that he was definitely going back and forth with her over and over again. Low blood pressure, saying what all the symptoms are all along, everything, nothing yet. They just admitted her. Low blood pressure all night, vomiting in the morning, still trying to figure this out. People are trying to help him. Okay, at this point, I'm not sure they understand everything that's going on. He's giving very technical information in some of these. He's talking about her bun, her nitrate testing, everything that's going on. He's giving a lot of information back and forth with Michelle. They did an ultrasound of her heart. He's going into everything that they're doing, and she's continuing. And continuingly, she's giving support. She's saying she'll pray for them, that she's like trying to understand what they're checking for, talking about kidneys and things like that, and further testing that can be done. Okay. They highlighted one part here. Let me see. I'm going to make this bigger just so you can just see this one part. Make it a little bit bigger. Oh, nope, that's a little too big. Now it's off the screen. If it wasn't my wife, this would be kind of a fun puzzle to try to work out. They thought that was quite surprising coming from him. This woman is unconscious, okay? This was horrible. She was in pain. They had to give her medication to keep her calm. The pain was so outrageous. She was going in and out. She lost consciousness. Pulmonary hypertension is serious. Okay. These are all the symptoms that she had. And I will leave it for those of you interested again, I'll post the link if you want to pull it up. The text is quite small, okay? He keeps saying, of course, all the tests are coming back perfect. She was on oxygen. Okay, she was still admitted. Everything's coming back negative. And he's not giving any information. Okay, and yet he told Ryan, this is what really got them. He told Ryan that he ordered the potassium cyanide for her, but it was a game of chicken, that perhaps she wouldn't take it. And yet she's in the hospital with these symptoms, and he's not mentioning to anyone that it could be poisoning. This is why he got arrested. Okay, you perhaps there's a reason to order potassium cyanide that I'm not aware of, but maybe there is. Okay. And just the fact that he ordered it doesn't make him guilty. The fact that he ordered it ahead of time, people knew that he ordered it ahead of time. He got discovered. He's at the hospital. He's talking with people about everything that's going on. He's talking about how frustrated the doctors and the nurses are that they can't figure out what's going on in his wife. But he knows he ordered potassium cyanide, and he knows his wife may have had access to it, and yet he hasn't mentioned that to anyone at the hospital. He's like getting attention from people. Okay. This is what infuriated me. This is why I'm following this case, because he's sending pictures to people about how horrible this is for him. Oh, yes, always. I know not in a dental office, but who knows what else, like, she may have been doing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going, being a little facetious here by saying, maybe he could have talked his way around that one with something else. But what you can't talk your way around is that you knew she had access to this based on your own statements to other people, and you didn't inform anyone at the hospital. Then he starts posting these kind of pictures of what's going on with his wife. Clearly, getting people up to the hospital to support him, telling them that everything's going on. The text message noting the day Friday was March 10th, and the one noting yesterday was March 15th. This is crazy. Yeah, maybe if they had a huge rat problem, I get it. I doubt it. I think the huge rat problem was her husband, but I digress. Okay. I'm going to try to stay unbiased until we see it all. I really am. Well, it's getting ridiculous. Okay. Oh, anyway, I don't. I think it was Michelle. It was either Michelle or Ryan. Remember, they're married. Contacted the officer on March 15th at approximately 9 a.m., stating James had called. However, they did not answer. He then received the following text message from James, and this is where it gets okay. This was to Ryan, I believe. Okay. Um. Okay, I'm reading these out because this is why I'm following this case. Now, some of you might think I'm a little strange about why I picked this case over that case. This obviously is out there, very popular right now. But it's not the popularity of it that's intrigued me, because any type of murder is going to be sensational. I feel terrible for the victim. I feel terrible for her family, her children, everyone. I want justice, and I want the right wronged, although we can never bring her back. Angela can never come back. But this actual entitlement that I read in these tweets, well, anyway, let me read to you. Good morning, Ryan. Thank you for taking my patient load today. I want to make an urgent plea to you. If we were ever friends, please do this favor for me. Please don't talk to anyone about what we talked about last night, including any enforcement officers. You are under no obligation to answer their questions unless you are served a subpoena, and you will do more damage than good to my family by continuing to insert yourself into this. Angela is gone, and I am devastated. There is nothing that can bring her back, and I want desperately to tell you of all the details so that you can better understand what's going on behind the scenes with her. There is so much that you don't know that I wish you did. If you knew everything, this would make so much sense to you, but there's no use in telling you right now. You and I have a history of you and other partners and Jackie all talking about me behind my back and deciding what you think is best. And then you're always the fall guy that has to pull the trigger or tell me what you've decided about me. In fact, yesterday you didn't even come to me. I had to seek you out. You have never given me the advantage of talking with me first. You just decide and then act and hope I'll pick up the pieces later. This is a pattern in our business dealings and now has become a factor in our personal dealings. Let me paint a picture for you of what this has done. Yesterday, I had to tell my kids their mom was not going to wake up, and they were there to say their final goodbyes. That was at 6:45 p.m. The hospital said we could bring the kids up to say goodbye at that time. But because of the investigation you opened by your incomplete information, the hospital made those poor, grieving, hysterical kids wait until after 10 to see their mom. After an hour or so of saying goodbye to her, we went home just before midnight, only to have our house sealed against our entry by the police. Instead of getting to go home and find comfort, they were met with the flashing lights and cold, unfeeling cops, and the kids, scared and confused, had to go sleep at the home of a ward member. Family is starting to come into town today, and I have to tell them they can't come to my house and try to explain why. I have to hire a homicide attorney to make sure I don't end up being painted in the light that some hungry DA is anxious to paint me in, because I am most likely going to be charged, even though that is absolutely not what happened. Ryan, I understand why you did what you did. I do. I get it. But if you had come to me personally, man to man, instead of talking to everyone else about what you thought you knew, I might have let you in on some details that would have made you less likely to cause this horrible storm. Man, Ryan, if you had only put me higher on your list of priorities instead of putting everyone else's opinions and gossip ahead of me. For that I am very, very mad at you. I have talked to you about this multiple times, but you don't seem to care, and now what you thought was responsible has become reckless and so, so destructive. And so I am asking, if there was ever any love in your heart for me, please don't make this any worse by talking to any officers or anyone else about this unless you are legally forced to, and whoever else on the team you think is going to be questioned. I would ask that you privately ask them to honor this request too. Also, please do not respond to this text message until I text you again. Okay. Oh, you're with me there always, huh? Because I don't know about you, but I really feel that the kids had to go through that. I do. My heart bleeds that that is what they're facing. But that's not Ryan who did that. Would that be the man who didn't tell the hospital about the potassium cyanide when they could have done something about it? Okay. He'd also talked to members of his church. He's talked to all these people. He's laying out. It's everybody else, not him. True, and I get with the sharing of the pics, JR, that it just might have been like sharing what was going on and he was frantic. And I would go with that if he wasn't keeping the key piece of information from the hospital that could have saved this woman's life. And he was in full control of the situation. But I get it. But this obviously looks like serious, serious manipulation to me. The Aurora Police Department Major Crimes Homicide Detective Chamberlain responded to University Hospital on the 16th at approximately 12:30 a.m. to speak with the attending hospital staff. Detective Chamberlain learned that Angela arrived at University Hospital at approximately 11 a.m. At approximately 2 p.m., Angela began suffering from a serious seizure, and doctors struggled to intubate her. Angela suffered from a lack of oxygen, had no pupil reaction, and began to have increased intracranial pressure, which caused decreased perfusion pressure, and was sent to the intensive care unit. Detective Chamberlain learned that Angela was still on life support, had no brain activity, and her prognosis was poor, that she may not make it through the evening. Blank was contacted and asked if she would respond to Aurora Police Department to speak with the detectives. In summary, she had been the office manager for the dentist's office for approximately 6 months and worked for James at Summerbrook Dental. Although he is also a dentist, he does not work at the dental clinic, but is a partner in the business. Blank knew that on March 6th, James and his wife Angela worked out in the morning. Before the workout, James made Angela a protein shake or a pre-workout shake in which James gave her extra protein because she was feeling sluggish. After the workout, Angela became faint and dizzy, and ultimately James took Angela to the hospital. Okay. Blank also started to notice odd or strange things around the office. On March 6th, towards the end of the day, found James in the dentist's office in a back medical area where she referred to as exam room 9. She thought this was strange because James had his computer in his office and his wife had just been discharged from the hospital. So this is the confirmation interview with the actual person who saw it. Prior, when they mentioned it, they said that that was a detail that they heard from someone else. Now they're getting it directly from the person who saw it. Blank confirmed it was not common for James to use the computer in the exam room, specifically number 9, because he had his own computer in the office and a laptop that he took home with him. Blank left a short time later and James remained in the office. Approximately 30 minutes later, James sent her a text saying he had a personal package coming to the office to let her know. During this time frame, Angela became ill and was taken to the hospital, there where she was constantly throwing up. It was unclear what her diagnosis was, and James had said Angela's blood pressure was low. During Angela's time in the hospital, James had conversations with Blank where he told her he didn't think his wife was going to make it. In the same conversation, James asked about business in the office. She found it strange James was concerned about his dental practice when his wife was in dire medical condition. On March 13th, she said one of the office attendants opened a package that came into the office, and the package was addressed directly to James. She knew this to be the personal package James had been asking about. This attendant had already opened the package, so she took the package from the office attendant, which she intended to put in James' office. As she repackaged the box, she noticed a packing slip that read potassium cyanide. She described the package as a foil square with no other markings on it. She said the package had a biohazard or warning, but she couldn't remember what it was. She resealed the box and hand-delivered the package to James. She later saw James walking down the hall of the office with a cylindrically shaped canister wrapped in brown paper or construction paper with a metal lid. She was unsure what this cylindrical canister was, but stated in the 6 months she had been at the dental office, she had not seen a similar canister. She had never seen potassium cyanide delivered to the office and was unsure what it was for. So she performed a Google search. In that search, she noted the side effects of ingesting potassium cyanide and matched the same symptoms Angela had been exhibiting over the last week, including nausea, vomiting, and low blood pressure. She said James told her when Angela was discharged, she made accusations that James had poisoned her. Angela said something to James along the lines of, "There are poisons they don't test for." She heard from James that Angela was sent home on oxygen, and they didn't know what was wrong with her. On March 15th, she learned that Angela was back in the hospital with the same symptoms. She said at one point she called her manager, Jacqueline, who also thought James might be responsible for Angela's sickness. She then shared the information she had about finding the potassium cyanide invoice. She stated she knew that James and Angela were having marital problems because James had recently mentioned he had told Angela that he wanted a divorce. She said James had been distant from time to time at work and would leave sometimes at lunch because he and Angela were having fights. She said she had not seen the package since the day she gave it to James and said the trash was collected by the trash company daily. On March 16th, Detective Marino was contacted by Child Protective Services caseworker Sydney Romero, who met with the members of the Craig family, James Craig and his children, individually. In her conversation with James, she believed James made some concerning statements. Namely, James alleged that Angela was suicidal and had been for some time. James claimed that he personally has had to revive Angela on several occasions over the last few months. James said he asked Angela for a divorce in December of 2022, and since that time, Angela's depression and suicidal ideations have increased. James James believed that Angela was intentionally overdosing on opioids and another unknown substance. James never reported any of these incidents, never sought medical attention for Angela after the alleged overdose attempts, and never sought professional counseling or therapy for Angela's depression and suicidal ideations. James told Sidney he was sure that Angela's toxicology would come back positive for substances, but said he did not know what kind. Sidney felt compelled to report the following statements because none of Angela's children mentioned their mother's depression, nor did she mention any alleged previous suicide attempts. Sidney believed that it was improbable that this type of event, overdose suicide attempt, could happen with no one inside the household except James being aware. Sidney provided her opinion that James was attempting to build a cover story for what really happened to Angela. On March 16th, Detective Marino communicated with a friend of the Craig family. That friend informed Detective Marino that James was currently at her residence and intended to spend the night with his children while he was waiting for his two oldest children to come in from out of town. They stated that she resided here and that James would be there through the morning. On March 16th, Detective Marino submitted 3 search warrant applications and affidavits to the 18th Judicial District Court, one for James and Angela's home, one for the Summerbrook Dental Office, and one for the address. Detective Marino was sworn in by the magistrate Richard Farrow, who signed all 3. On the 16th at 8:30 a.m., the police department detective Graw and your affidavit, that's Olson, responded to blank where we spoke to James, and that would be the neighbor. Okay, James stated he did not wish to speak to them about his wife's medical status. James was provided a copy of the signed search warrant requesting his cellular phone, Angela's cellular phone, his wallet, and his laptop. James handed the officer Angela's cell phone and provided the passcode. James then handed his cell phone over, a light blue iPhone 14, and provided the passcodes. James said the laptop that he used regularly was at his dental office. James provided the officers with the laptop's password. James said he did not carry a wallet but kept his credit cards and ID in his phone case. And the officer took pictures of the cards and his Colorado's driver's license and then gave them back to James. So this is all the very next day after she passed. On March 16th at approximately 8:30 a.m., or this is before actually, I'm sorry. On March 16th at approximately 8:30 a.m., Aurora Police Department Detective Graw and your affiant responded to blank where we spoke to James. James stated he did not wish to speak to us about his wife's medical status. Okay, I already got that. On the March 16th at approximately 8:45, along with the major crimes homicide detectives, they responded to the home of James and Angela and executed the search warrant. Upon clearing the residence to ensure no one was inside, the officer noted the house was affixed with both external and internal surveillance cameras. After the residence was cleared, the police department detective Marino completed an amended search warrant to include the seizure and search of the external and internal surveillance equipment and recorded surveillance footage. The search warrant was signed by Magistrate Heidi Kutcher. During the search of the residence, multiple items believed to have information and or evidence related to the incident were located. Multiple types of protein powders, multiple workout-style shakers used to consume protein drinks or shakes, a computer tablet, 2 different plastic Ziploc-style bags that had white powdery substances in them, neither labeled what they were, a water bottle located on the exercise bike in the main bedroom. Executing the search of the residence, we could not locate a hard drive or device that would obviously maintain data for a surveillance device. This was a security system affixed to the wall that could play the video, exterior only, but it was not something that would be easily unplugged to seize. It is believed that the surveillance information would most likely be maintained on devices such as a phone, tablet, or computer in a cloud-based system. On March 16th, at approximately 11:45, the officer in Major Crimes Homicide Detectives executed the search warrant at the dental office. The dental office was closed for business. Upon entry to the business, multiple cameras affixated to the office walls were observed, and the offices were clean and orderly. The information previously provided was that James had been in dental room 9, where he was on the computer there in the dark. The officer viewed the dental room and found it to be open and style dental room, allowing someone to see if a person were on a computer. Each room had individual lights, but when not illuminated with overhead lights, the rooms were dark. Each room was identified by a silver metal style number on the hallway walls next to the entrance. Exam room number 9 was found to be at the far end of the clinic's dead end hallway. The AFB collected the hard drive that was hooked up and connected to the monitor in exam room number 9. The hard drive was a Dell Optiplex 3070. The drive had a Logitech USB plugged into the back, and the hard drive was seized. Okay. These are long. Okay. So they got the laptop. They located also an office in the clinic southeast corner containing 2 office desks. On the far desk south, the laptop was observed. When the laptop screen was woken, it showed the last logged in person was James. The password James provided for the laptop was entered to make sure that the laptop was his. The password activated the laptop and opened it. No further investigation into the laptop's contents was conducted. It was collected and determined to be a Dell Precision 770. It was located to be a Bell Precision 7750 gray and silver series of characters on the back, and they're identifying it. And so James identified as James' laptop, and it was seized. Okay. The Aurora Police Department Detective Harris located a small hand vacuum in the office with 3 additional desks with computers. The vacuum had a white powdery substance inside of it. A portion of the substance was collected and seized. Detective Harris located James' DEA number, and the officer knows a DEA number is assigned to healthcare providers, allowing them to write prescriptions. So the officer accessed Angela's cell phone text messages and found several between her and James. The officer found Angela and James' text messages were comparable to other couples texting about their day, the children's day, and other activities. The officer found Angela had James in her phone as the boy, with a picture of 2 of them, and confirmed the phone number had matched that of the phone number Ryan and Michelle said was his. While reading through the text messages on March 1st, the officer... Oh, this is just jumping on me. The officer found Angela and James were discussing their relationship, mainly about James' healing and counseling. The officer noted the following text exchange, and I will make that bigger and read it. Okay, Angela is in blue, and okay, Angela is in blue, and James is in white. Angela, have to do everything alone. Your healing and happiness, this marriage is more important than my day. You are more important than my day. Thank you, he says. I know you are getting ready to go out and spend some time with Tony, and I would like to ask that you keep last night's conversation details just between you and I. I trust Tony, but it was hard for me to even tell you that stuff. I'm definitely not ready for anybody else to hear it. Of course, I wasn't planning to talk about any of it. I haven't actually talked to Tony about any of the last few months since that initial conversation. I'm sorry. I know she is kind of your outlet and your strength and support and somebody who you could always go to vent. I hate taking away even a part of that since I know that is really, really hard for you. The officer noted Jean's and Angela's text messages beginning first day she began to experience unexplained symptoms. Now, to me, that sounds like, she's very concerned about what he's going through. She doesn't sound, I mean, does she sound suicidal to you guys? This was only this is well after he says he asked her for divorce. Okay. But the one that they actually have the biggest problem with, okay, is the one here marked in red. Have you eaten anything? Okay. He's asking her. I had my protein shake and magnesium makes me weird. This this is not hungry. Are you nauseated? No. I feel drugged. Given our history, I know that must be triggering. Just for the record, I didn't drug you. I am super worried though. You really looked pale before I left, like in your lips even. You know, hmm, they found this very telling. Anyway, you guys can go through more detail if you wish on all of those. But I think to speed things up a bit, um, I'm going to skip the rest of the what appeared to me to be just her being worried about him more and whatever he's talking to her about her privately, which sounds more like he was having the emotional issues, you know. I don't know. Then there's much in there about her feeling ill. There's much in there about her feeling ill after she takes these protein shakes. Okay. It kind of lays out how she starts to feel ill, how she's starting to feel fine, takes a protein shake, and then immediately, somewhat after, feels pretty ill. I don't know. And then they talk about the phone messages. She was getting text messages and he was getting text messages and she was helping him set up how not to get the notifications and things like that. She kept saying things like she felt super tired, she was sick, she had a headache, she was nauseous. Just regular banter back and forth, silly stuff. She does talk about getting, he does talk often in here about getting her tested by specialists and things like that. He says lots of concerning things, as you would if someone's telling you they're not feeling well. But they're really trying to figure out what's wrong. The scans, everything, all through the testing. They have all the messages here back and forth from them. Everything. Oh boy. It goes, this is what most of it is. But as you can see, it goes on and on and on. They have it all. On March 16th, Detective Harris was sworn in by the Arapahoe County Honorable Magistrate Heidi Kutcher for multiple warrants. Detective Harris received signed warrants for James' blue iPhone, the hard drive collected from the dental room, Summerbrook Dental Office, James' laptop from the dental office, James' iPad collected from the residence. Okay. The warrants permitted a search and download of the devices. The blue iPhone Plus specifically requested a search from the dates of March 16th from February 16th to March 16th. On March 17th, due to forensic detective being off work, an initial history search of the device was conducted. The officer, Olson, and Detective Harris plugged the hard drive into a TV to look at the history of dental room number 9. Detective Harris opened up the Google Chrome page and saw the above depiction. Just below the X area of the web page that you could click to exit, there was a J. When the J was selected, it provided a possible additional email account of James's. The known email on his phone was Dinosaur Jim. The new email was Jim and Waffles. Detective Harris then clicked on 3 small dots to the right of the J and clicked on the history. The history of the email account began on February 27th. This appeared to indicate that the email address was created on that date. Beginning on February 27th, we observed that the user had conducted a series of searches related to poison. Those searches included how many grams of pure arsenic will kill a human? And then, is arsenic detectable in autopsy? I mean, he was just curious, right? See below. The first screenshot on February 27th provided the history, as you can see. Here is a purchase for an Amazon order to his email. James had searched chemical suppliers in Aurora, Colorado, and also made a purchase via Amazon. We clicked on the Amazon order and found the following. The Amazon order number in the email was then clicked, and the Amazon account pulled up the order. The item was ordered on February 27th and delivered to the home and left in the mailbox on March 4th. The item ordered was arsenic metal 99.999%, crystalline metalloid 10 grams for element collection. It costs $13. In the description of the item James purchased, the information stated that arsenic is often believed to be used for murder, as it has been in many crime novels. The second portion of the informative description stated that the real danger is in swallowing it, which could very well prove fatal. This is a product that was not meant to be ingested. And I'm telling you, nobody try that. The next screenshot showed the following history from 332 to 335. And the next screenshot shows the history. It is all of the Google accounts, the searches. It has the authentication through Amazon. It shows him creating the account to go into Amazon. The next screenshot shows the search history for the next few minutes and the next 6 minutes. James searched arsenic on the Alpha Chemistry website that provided many variations. The next screenshot is from 320 to 322 and provided this particular search had a Google search of how many grams of pure arsenic will kill a human. Here, they're documenting that it was still the same search all the way through and that he did actually order the arsenic and then find out how many grams. When that link is clicked, there is information of what could be an exposure or lethal dose. The next screenshot from 315 to 320 provided the following. Is arsenic detectable in autopsy? From the Carlson Company. When that website is checked on the Carlson Company, the following can be found. And they got an article here about all you need to know about arsenic poisoning. I know, I know, Amazon, right, Harold? This is bananas, I'm telling you. The next screenshot is from 311 to 316, and it also has the search history provided YouTube searches for the 5 undetectable poisons that show no signs of foul play, how to make a poison, the top 10 deadliest plants that can kill you. And he was thorough. I'm just saying, he didn't decide on one way. The top 5 undetectable poisons showing no signs of foul play is a video by It's All Viral. The video provides the top 5 undetectable poisons and how they can affect certain people. The following information is a synopsis: polonium, mercury, cyanide, botulinum, and arsenic. Virtually undetectable. Okay. Can't find these very easily. Oh, and look at here. Arsenic. It's used in murder and mystery. The following screenshot from 302 to 312 provided the following. And then from 239 to 302. In this portion of search, there is information regarding oleandrin and how to make poison from it, from oleander. Oleander is a plant, okay? And you can make poison from it. It's deadly. James had searched via Google by oleander and through Nerdfighter Wiki 6 deadly undetectable poisons and how to detect them. When you click on the by oleander, you get a Google search for the plant. The Nerf Fighter wiki described multiple poisons in the text as well as had a video on the perfect poison. The site provided the following information. Within the text of the information, the following is provided about arsenic and cyanide being the perfect poison. The article is somewhat lengthy, but has information of some of the symptoms of cyanide. The symptoms are weakness, nausea, difficulty breathing, seizures, and cardiac arrest. The video explained that cyanide is very hard to detect and that it is often too late by the time doctors call the diagnosis of what happens. This concluded the search history of this date and anything related to poisons. When we clicked on the Amazon order, we could view the emails to the Jim and Waffles account. Once we took a closer look at this account, we found additional purchase of poison. The account's first contacts were on February 27th, and it appeared that the account had just been created. The account had the following contacts, and these are all poison sites, okay? The emails ended on March 16th and started on February 27th. The emails also have a J in the top right portion, and when clicked, it shows that it belongs to Jim Craig. The emails had multiple orders within the contents as well as communications with a blank. I'm thinking that's the supposed mistress, because also there is rumored at this time that there was a mistress. Within the contents of the emails, there is an order on March 9th with Midland Scientific. The item purchased was a Sigma 207810-25G. After the item was purchased, Midland Scientific employee Cassie Rodriguez contacted James about some follow-up needs for the product. In researching what it was, we discovered that it was the technical term for potassium cyanide. The following email strand between James and the employee Cassie took place, and there's just going to be all back and forth to confirm that he is the one that way. Cassie informed James that they did not have the item in stock, but they could ship it. The web order was provided and showed that it would have been shipped to James' office. The order note states, hopefully this is in stock and I can come pick it up tomorrow, March 9th. It appeared that based on the order, James needed this product right away. The email then provided a PDF from the company of the restricted item usage statement form. The form provided the details needed to be filled out by James for his purchase of this product. James responded by stating he was a surgeon performing a craniofacial reconstruction. James said he is using his chemical to check and see if it will help with the layering of alternative metals. He stated that if successful, this will be published as a paper in the National Institutes of Health. He stated his license number and his professional email as Dr. Craig at Summerbrook Dental. The email he is communicating on to buy the poisons, and with blank is with Jim and Waffles. At no time is James using his professional email. To your officers acknowledged to make these purchases after alleging they are for work. Cassie then responded stating the delivery was expected for tomorrow, and this email was dated March 9th. So Cassie responded and stated that because James was a new user, that the system would take longer to process the order. James responded that he figured it out, referencing the form, and sent it from the hospital. He sent the following response. The response is the restricted usage form, and he stated it would be used for electroplating over medical prostheses. He signed that form and dated it on March 9th. James then responded to Cassie's message about the delivery delay and stated it was inconvenient. He stated he will shuffle some things around and then will get the delivery. He contacted Cassie again on the 10th to ask if she had the shipment information. Cassie then sent a response from the supplier that the shipment was expected for Saturday, March 11th. James asked again about the tracking information. James again contacted her on the 11th and stated it was 7:30 p.m. and he waited all day for the shipment at his office. James' office is only open Monday through Thursday. James still had the shipment sent to his office on a day off. He had communicated with Caitlin that he had a personal package coming to the office and not to open it. It was believed that this package was the personal package. Cassie, the representative, then responded on March 13th. She provided a FedEx tracking number. Caitlin had told the officer that the potassium cyanide had been shipped on March 13th to the office via FedEx. The conversation concluded with Cassie telling James he was welcome, and the officer looked up the Sigma product on Midland Science and found the following. Ooh, it is potassium cyanide. Look at that. Caitlin stated she had seen a container with a label of potassium cyanide on it. James told her not to open the box, but someone had gotten to it first, and the box was opened with the potassium cyanide inside. James had alleged to Cassie via email that this was for work, but told his employees it was for personal use. Your affiant checked the FedEx tracking, and they found it all in order. It was consistent with what Caitlin had reported to the detectives. There was another purchase made by James on March 6th. The purchase was for 3 oleandrin 1 milligram items for $330. That invoice was dated March 10th. On the form, the usage stated the following: products are for research use only, not for human use. We do not sell to patients. James never received the item because MCHU investigator Josephic was able to contact FedEx and inform them of the situation. FedEx stated their interdiction team would stop the delivery of the package and hold it for investigation. Josephic to recover. The other emails were with a blank. The emails were intimate in nature and contained sexually explicit conversations. There were also travel plans within those emails to blank. The first travel dates were March 8th through 10th, which showed blank traveling from Austin, Texas to Denver, Colorado. Angela was in the hospital during March 9th through 14th. The email account appeared to have been created on February 27th, along with the searches, plans to poison someone, and to convene with Karen. Karen is the name of the supposed mistress or affair contact, so to speak. It appeared that James had Karen visit him while his wife was sick in the hospital. The second flight itinerary was from March 16th through 20th. The flight was purchased on March 4th, which was the same date that the arsenic was delivered to James's house. A follow-up email from Karen on March 16th suggested that James had told her something had happened to Angela. We sent James an email explaining how sorry she was for him and that she wished she was helping him, not pulling him away. She stated she knew it had to be so hard what he was going through and what she wanted to be there for him, but did not want to mix in with his family and friends and pretend to be only a friend when there was something more. It was obviously more than just consoling going on. On the 17th, the officer spoke with Angela's, stated that she and Angela spoke almost daily. Angela visited her in Utah from March 1st through 5th. While in Utah, Angela was neither sick nor complained of not feeling well. She stated Angela and James's marriage had always been tumultuous. James had multiple affairs with several women, told Angela he had been addicted to pornography since he was a teenager, and drugged Angela approximately 5 to 6 years ago. Angela told her that James drugged her, an unknown drug, because he planned to go into their bathroom and give himself a lethal injection of something to commit suicide. James told Angela he drugged her so she wouldn't find him nor be able to save him, which would give the lethal drugs time to kill him. The officer believed this is what James referred to in the text message exchange outlined in red earlier in this affidavit. Giving our history, I know that must be triggering. Just for the record, I didn't drug you. Wow. Wow. Okay. Do you see why this case has got me? This has got me. This has got me. Okay. Angela told her several times over the past 16 years that she was going to leave James, but said that James always convinced her to stay. Angela told her that James had run the dental office into the ground and that their finances were dire. Angela complained to her that James recently traveled to Las Vegas, where she said he gambled away over $2,000. When James updated her on Angela's status, James said he would not allow hospital staff to conduct an autopsy. Tony, and Tony is the name of her sister, by the way, said she pled with James, asking him to do an autopsy in case it was genetic, so they could prevent one of their children from getting sick. James said he felt if they couldn't figure out what was wrong with her when she was alive, he wouldn't let them poke her anymore when she was dead. On March 18th, the officer was advised Angela was pronounced brain dead at 4:29 p.m. by University Hospital physician Natalie Held. Colorado CRS 12-240-140 determination of death states that an individual is dead if the individual has sustained irreversible cessation of circulatory and respiratory functions, or the individual has sustained irreversible cessation of all functions of the entire brain, including the brainstem. Through the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the officer learned that ingesting arsenic typically causes severe gastrointestinal signs and symptoms such as vomiting, abdominal pain, and diarrhea. The signs and symptoms might lead rapidly to dehydration and shock. Different clinical manifestations might follow, including dysrhythmias, prolonged QTT wave changes, altered mental status, and multi-system organ failure that ultimately could result in death. Through the CDC, this officer learned that ingesting cyanide typically causes chest pain, confusion, dizziness, eye pain, eye tearing, excitement, difficulty breathing, headache, nausea, rapid or slow heart rate, rapid or slow breathing, restlessness, shortness of breath, vomiting, weakness, or wheezing. In addition, more serious symptoms include high or low blood pressure, loss of consciousness, lung injury, seizures, coma, and death. Angela told James she was having the following symptoms beginning March 6th through March 15th. Dizziness. Her head felt funny. Her eyes did not want to focus and felt heavy and slow. Felt drugged. Whole body feeling tingly. Extreme headache. Eye discharge. Altered mental state. High and low blood pressure. Weak, shaky, tired, nausea, vomiting. All of those statements are taken from the text message between the two of them during that period of time. They are picking out things that she told him that she was feeling. She told James directly how she was being affected. The officer documented the litany of texts completed by two separate emergency department doctors through her text messages to James and James' messages to Michelle. None provided a medical reason for her symptoms. However, reading the CDC symptoms of poisons, your officer knows they are consistent with the symptoms Angela was experiencing, and that must be what ultimately killed her. Conclusion. Through this investigation, your officer has spoken to numerous people who have provided insights into Angela and James Craig's relationship. Not one person has suggested or even seen any source of suicidal ideations from Angela. James had provided those statements to the Department of Human Services employees who, after hearing those statements, felt that James was trying to make a point to have some source of a cover-up story to prevent his incrimination. James had made varied statements to various audiences. He told the Department of Human Services that Angela was suicidal, and he had saved her many times, but never reported it. James had told fellow employees that his marriage was failing, and he was in financial turmoil. He also had been recently communicating with a woman named Karen about what appears to be a sexually intimate relationship. It appears James was flying this woman into Denver while his wife and the mother of his children was dying in the hospital. In totality, this investigation has proven that James has gone to great lengths to try and end his wife's life. On February 27th, he created a new Gmail account, Jim Waffles, which he only used in dental room number 9 within his practice. This email account was not found on his cellular phone, his laptop, nor on Angela's phone. While using this account, he researched multiple undetectable poisons and eventually purchased crystalline metalloid arsenic from Amazon. After buying this poison, he received an email from Blank about her intention. Oh, that's Karen. he received an email from Karen about her intention to fly to Denver, Colorado for March 8th through 10th. On March 4th, the arsenic was delivered to James' mailbox at his home residence. On March 4th, James received another email from Karen. A trip was scheduled for March 16th through 20th with a flight plan. On March 5th, Angela returned home from a trip to Utah. On March 6th, Angela was admitted to Parker Adventist Hospital as she complained that her head felt funny. She was dizzy, and her eyes were not focusing. She continued that she did not feel right in her head and that her body was responding slowly. These symptoms were consistent with some of the symptoms from arsenic. These symptoms for the CDC were vomiting, abdominal pain, diarrhea, dehydration, altered mental state, or organ failure. Angela was released from the hospital on March 6. James then ordered oleandrin in a quantity of 3 on March 6. These items were intercepted by FedEx and were not delivered to James. On March 8th, according to the flight plans from February 27th, Karen came to Denver. James then ordered the cyanide from Midland Scientific with a request to have the items overnighted. He requested to pick them up on March 9th, which would be the day before the arrival of the mistress. I digress. Specifically, there were delays in the shipment due to verifying his credentials, and James responded while Angela was in the hospital that he could complete the form and that the potassium cyanide was needed for surgery. James showed impatience in the email string between him and the Midland Scientific employee. James then told one of his employees that he had a package coming to the office, and we all read all about that. That the package was opened, they saw the potassium cyanide, it was definitely delivered, and it should have remained in the business if it was truly used for surgery, as James alleged. On March 14th, Angela was released from the hospital and returned home. On March 15th, Angela returned to the hospital at approximately 11 o'clock. This time, Angela was at University Hospital Anschutz. Angela started to suffer from a severe seizure and was intubated. Angela suffered from a lack of oxygen and no pupil reaction and began to have intracranial pressure. This led Angela to the medical intensive care unit, where she was on life support and did not regain brain activity. James was known to make Angela protein shakes regularly and had administered many to her. It was believed he had provided Angela with the poison through these shakes. Per the CDC, the more severe symptoms include high or low pressure, blood pressure, loss of consciousness, lung injuries, seizures, coma, and death. James has ordered multiple poisons that were not known to have been located during the searches of his residence or business. James has not attempted to speak with the police regarding what occurred with his wife, but has made statements that he had the answers to what happened. James has only repeatedly asked for his phone back. Based on the totality of the investigation, James has shown the planning and intent to end his wife's life by searching for ways to kill someone undetected, providing her poisons that align with her hospitalized symptoms, and working on starting a new life with Karen. Your officer finds there is more than enough preliminary evidence sufficient to arrest James Craig with premeditated first-degree murder. Based upon the foregoing facts, your affiant feels that she was probable cause to believe the offenses of premeditated first-degree murder, Class 1, has been committed by Craig. Craig. Well, that's James Toliver Craig. I'm sorry. And he did commit the offense, signed by the detective. Okay. The rest, okay. We did all 52 pages in less than an hour and a half, but now I want to talk to you. I'm sorry we didn't get to talk as much during, but wild or what? I don't know. Hold on. This is, arsenic, peach pits, apple seeds, right? Like there are many natural poisons. And I know I saw some of you talking about all of that in the chat. And there are, especially the oleander. I want to tell you that the oleander was intercepted for a wrong use product and was never delivered, thankfully. But he's actually, to me, the correspondence, the text messages, as you go through them, and you'll realize, based on the statement of the sister, that Angela had been reporting that there were incidences of James being the one that was having suicidal thoughts and attempts, and admittedly so. Okay. And isn't it rather convenient that he was poisoning her right before a mistress shows up, like trying to get her sick and in the hospital so she was out of the way? Okay. And she has adult children who would notice symptoms if she was depressed and this and that. And I don't know, forgive me, but the conversation that they were having back and forth, well after he says he informed her of wanting to have a divorce in December and her being extremely depressed and suicidal, did not, I don't know, I didn't get that vibe from it. Now, I don't want to judge how anyone like personally accepts the information that someone wants to divorce you. Maybe she was calm about it. Maybe they were working it out as friends. I don't even want to get in on that end of it. It just doesn't appear to be anything he says, you know? And hello, mistress. I really can't feel for you when you make statements like, I don't want to interfere with your family wife, and your wife is in the hospital, but I'll take and hop on a plane to see your butt while she is. Like, what? Like, decency, people. I know people, your heart can't help who you love or you want. But damn, really? Okay. Okay. Not factual, but it is reported that Karen is also in the dentistry and she has a dental practice. She happens to be one of the few that do what she does in her area, and all of a sudden, no one can find her because she's taking a hiatus. I can't blame her. I would too. I would not want to be associated with this. Perhaps she didn't know anything that was going on, but she did know the wife was sick. But I understand, people can be charming. She could have been hoodwinked. Well, she got a lot to deal with here too. She gonna have to testify. She can't hide forever. Neighbors say she's nice and she's quiet. She has an estranged husband herself in the situation to where they're not divorced but estranged. I can't really see that they're divorced yet. They are in the same practice, but they don't live together, although he is on the property in another unit and uses her home to shower. Uh, so there seems to be contact there. And it seems to be that she quite willingly traveled to meet with James, and that it was a quite an intimate relationship based on the text messages and based on flying out as often as she did and what she actually put in the text messages and what she was saying. I mean, wow. Yep. The authorities found everything. Always is right. They found everything in regards to the oleander and they stopped the delivery of it. Hmm. I know, like, it's like it took a playbook from Mark Jensen. You're absolutely right. It's the familiarity of it that's like intriguing me here, always. And thank you for the doc that the always Createful and I are researching things back and forth and sharing a Google Doc to where we're putting a timeline together of everything, because actually it appears that everybody got a heads up well before before she died. It was too late though once she became in a coma. But what bothers me the most is that he knew all the symptoms. He said she was suicidal and depressed to other people, but never alerted the hospital staff. This does not speak well for him at all. Like, I can't imagine you're that confused or distressed that you're not going to tell them. And especially if you're ordering things like that are in your home now, or whether, because they're not in the dentist office, you took the cyanide home with you. You ordered arsenic for whatever purpose you're going to say, was delivered to your home. So there was access of some type. You can't say one thing and not bring the others into it. Dude, you didn't want anybody to have the information. The things you're saying are just a cover story, in my humble opinion. This does look bad, and I don't blame them for writing out this affidavit based on just the conversations of what they had. Physical evidence, I see a lot of technical invoices and deliveries and facts on poisons. I see a Google search that screams loudly to me, but I also need to see that there is actual poison in any of those containers from the home. I'm hoping it doesn't rinse out or wash out well. I'm hoping there's trace of something somewhere. We need to see poison in the home residence to actually seal the deal, as far as for me. But I'd have to say I'm barely leaning towards that's one hell of an affidavit. I don't know about you guys. Exactly, Liam. The last package was accidentally opened and it was cyanide. And he's telling his friend it's a ring until he finds out that the friend has talked to the office manager and knows damn well it's not a ring. Then he starts pleading with everyone to shut up. Don't tell anyone what you know. You're hurting my children, you know? Harold. Yes, this is true. This is true. Harold, my Scientology buddy here. I can't wait to have a conversation with you. That he's obsessed with them the way I am. Okay. Now I know why L. Ron Hubbard didn't trust dentists. He didn't. He said, never go to a dentist. They're evil. They'll kill you. Apparently, apparently they will. And thank you. I will put this towards the potato fund for the new computer. Thank you very much. Yeah. Oh, thank you. And it's nice to have you here for a true crime. Like, so what do you think about this dentist? Besides the fact that he's not going to be Elron's fan, Elron's not going to be a fan of him. Absolutely not. But you know what, Liam? Poison is usually a woman's way of doing it. But really, I mean, how sloppy was this? I mean, you've got all these people around you. Granted, he didn't use his own computer, but he used a computer tied to his business that can clearly be tracked to him since he has access because of the business. Yeah. This is exactly what I'm thinking here, Harold. He sure as hell isn't exactly what I would call sneaky, competent, or thought things through. I'd say he had other things on his mind, like his affair. I don't know. Yeah. If Scientologists aren't supposed to go to the dentist, how do all those celebrities have nice teeth? They get them before they become Scientologists, I guess. You know how they build those beautiful fake smiles. I don't know. I really don't, Angier. It's like a catch 22. Yeah, Karen needs to take notes from Amber Frey and start and put out an affidavit. Exactly. Karen shouldn't be hiding right now. Karen should be in a police department saying everything she knows so she don't get dragged into this mess. I do wonder, Anna, what the mistress knows, but it wouldn't be uncommon for the mistress not to know a lot. I mean, the really, seriously, I think he's just going to be looking for attention and use it for like, oh, my wife's sick and I can't handle it and get the sympathy. You know how it is. Make me feel better, baby. Hmm. Yeah, I'm sure she regrets. Anyway, she needs to get her butt, whether she knows anything or not, to a department with her lawyer to do a statement. That would be the best thing for her, you know. That's it. Sloppy. I know. It's all over his phone. It's all over everything. And you know what really did it for me? How do you guys feel about him messaging his former partner, Ryan, the way he did? You know, I mean, that was like some hella entitlement. And then put the guilt on him about what the kids are going through because he had the nerve to not want Angela to go through this because he knew what he was doing. Oh, Berillion, yes, those packages did. Well, some of the packages. The arsenic was delivered, and so was the cyanide. But the plant derivative, the oleander that he was going to use to make the poison, that got stopped. They found that and they contacted FedEx. The authorities contacted FedEx, and that did not get delivered based on usage, based on what it's used for. So only one of the poisons didn't make it, but he did get to try with arsenic, and he did get the cyanide delivered. They were delivered to both his home and his business. The arsenic was delivered to his home, and the cyanide was delivered to his dental practice. Yep. I'm telling you, this was crazy. Um, well, he did, Liam. Liam Elron actually does have quite a thing for everyone in the medical field in general. Like Scientologists don't use medicine like that, and psychoanalysts, psychiatrists, and dentists were his favorite targets. Absolutely, and they don't obviously want anyone to psychoanalyze why you would be in Scientology. They might discover that he wrote a fiction novel and decided to turn it into a religion. Ooh, maybe, or like an ego trip, but I digress. I don't know. I have to make fun of it because Scientology is like so, I want to take it seriously. It's so damn damaging. And I do regularly, but every once in a while I got to crack a joke on it. Just to keep saying, I hope you'll forgive me. Mm. I don't know. Mm. This is so dumb. Listen, Virillion, not only did the poison get delivered to businesses that he owned and his own home, he actually made up a new email address, but used the computer at his dental office to do it. But it wasn't his personal laptop. It was owned by his dentist practice, and he used his name and his address, and they could track him through the payments, and he put the orders in the search content on there. He literally searched the poisons on how to kill someone untraceable through autopsy. Like, created it on one day and conversed not only with the poisons but with his mistress through that email address. I mean, here's the one thing I'm going to throw. Let's play devil advocate, okay? Because all that damaging out evidence is coming from the practice, do you think anyone set him up? I think it's possible, except for the fact that there's too many people involved. That would involve both office managers, several employees, and the dental practice ex-partner Ryan and his wife all being involved in the conspiracy. He would have had to have done something really, really bad to get like that many people involved in setting him up for this. And they would have to want to do harm to Angela. And I know they don't seem to be like that at all. They all seem very caring to her. They all seem like they really cared what happened to her. And they are absolutely vilifying him because of what happened to her. They are angry. They sound angry and willing to testify like, oh, hell no, you're not getting away with this. And I don't blame them. I really think he does think he's smart, but he's not so smart. Not the sharpest tool in the shed, I'll tell you that. Um, with this kind of evidence, the talk, I mean, always Createful and I are talking back and forth, along with several people in the Discord about the case. And everyone seems to think that after the affidavit came out with all that damning information, especially what you can see in black and white, as his text messages, his conversations with people at the church, the way he's building a story, his contact with CPS, it looks pretty damaging that it was actually intent. In order to avoid, I don't know, do they have the death penalty in Colorado? But in order to avoid life in prison or to get some kind of sentencing consideration, he may want to cut a deal here. It might be best to just come forward with whatever happened and just admit it. Cut a deal. You know what? And if he did file, I mean, he lost his original partners and all through a bankruptcy beginning, if I remember correctly, always from reading the timeline in the history, that Ryan was a partner in his previous adventure, in that there was financial concerns at that time, and that there's not exactly good blood between the two of them, although they stayed in contact and everything. He doesn't seem very pleased with him. But it was the bankruptcy and the mishandling of money that did that practice in. Yeah, he didn't use a different phone under his name. He used his phone. And honestly, Virillion, the only contact he has with the police right now is not to give a statement, not to give an answer of questions, because he is telling his friend that he knows what happened and he wants to give further information so no one blames him, but he's not telling any of the police. All he's asking for is his phone back. It might be where he has the contact number for his mistress. I don't know. But mm, the mistress, is going underground. And it's unfortunate because she's going to actually lose her business too. And she's like one of the only practices in the area. People are quite upset about the whole thing. Okay. Always says, can we use this case for a new chapter in the book, How to Not Create a Perfect Way to Get Rid of Your Spouse for Dummies? Yes. Like how not to do it. Dummies 101, better way to poison. I get it. I get it, You know what? Every one of those purchases, it's not that simple. Every one of those purchases, you're on CCTV. I'm telling you. Also, they've got Since they have his phone, I'm wondering if they can get into the cameras. We haven't heard anything. Like, there's some things to look forward to, people. Did they not say that there's internal and external footage, cameras on the residence, and that they may have been cloud based, either through the laptop, a tablet, or the phone, which he's already given them the passwords to his phone because they'll be able to see the apps on there. So unless he was smart enough to delete everything, they may see him coming and going with the mistress. I don't know, because remember, she was out, but I doubt he would with the kids home. They do have small children. 3 of them are under the age of 18, which means they would be in the home, unless they were, while she was in the hospital, they were with a ward. They were being taken care of by somebody else. Okay. Harold says, you know, a P.O. box would have been great. Yes, Crazy Cats. And Harold says, a throwaway $30 Android tablet bought with cash, only use random public Wi-Fi, and probably don't order multiple poisons to your home and office and leave your search history intact. Really, there is a way to clear the cache. I mean, really, they would have had to go a lot harder. They still may have been able to find some remnants on the hard drive. However, they would have made it been a lot harder to find it, you know. Always is reminding us that he also made a request of the church to have members come over and clean parts of his home, then requested them not to talk about it. Why? I think he was taking a note out of Alex M's books. As far as trying to recreate an alibi, yes, probably. Yup, there were cameras at home and in the office. Okay. That's what I'm waiting to see if they've got anything there. I don't know. It's a total digital world, I agree. And there are very, very few dead ends these days. Exactly. And Icarus has the title for the book: Fantastic Ways to Poison Your Spouse and Where to Find Them Unsuccessfully. Like, you can find them, but you're going to get caught. Mm. P.O. boxes in certain areas have not CCTV and don't take ID because they deal with illegal immigrants. This is true. So, well, still having one, if they can track you to it, could kind of indicate something. I wonder what they found in the cups and the shake message. Me too, Anna. I'm waiting for CSI evidence of everything that was seized. But how do you guys feel right now? I mean, we're going to watch this case all the way through. We're going to give you further information on it as it comes out. But right now, how are you feeling? I mean, to me, some of those text messages had me feeling a certain way. They were doing, yeah, I don't know. They call it cleaning the house, right, Wrecker? You call it an exorcism? I don't know. I think I call it destruction of evidence. That's what I call it. Cleaning the scene. That's what I call it. I know. And this is not funny because we want justice for this woman and her children and her family. Okay. It just, like, I don't understand why there's so much digital trail on him. Was he just out of it? Like, is there something going on with him? Like, creative ways to go to prison. Exactly. He did purchase through with his real name, Sean. That's the surprising part. April 7th, he's still being represented by a public defender at this time. Well, he obviously, the practice has concerns monetarily wise. I'm wondering if he did this for insurance, if he did this for a new life. Was he planning on running away? He has 3 adult children, 3 children under the age of 18. It doesn't seem like he was concerned for them. This doesn't sound like someone who is mentally in the picture right now, to me anyway. And the way he was twisting things on his friend for sympathy several times, church members, everyone, kind of got me to be a bit narcissistic tendencies there. He's not really concerned about the situation going on, although his text messaging back and forth with his wife Angela does seem to be present, and he is codifying. He is talking to her about he wants her to feel better. They need to test for this. They need to test for that. And the fact that he's actually the one causing it and able to do that gives me chilling vibes. Like, that chilled me to my bone to read that. I didn't go into the great detail of all of it, But if you get chance, and I'll drop that link again to that document, um, please go ahead. Read those text messages back and forth from his wife. Step by step, he's telling her, "Oh, I'm sorry this is going on. Maybe they should test for this. Maybe they should test for that. Let's go here. Let's go there." If he is the one that was causing those symptoms and able to do that back and forth while knowing that he is the one causing her distress, and all the time she's worried about what it's doing to him. Crikey. Demented. I can't. That's just evil. Sorry. That's cold. That's way cold. I cannot think of a single situation to where I would be able to do that to someone, regardless of what they did to me. I just can't. I don't know. This is just crazy. But on that, everyone, I want to thank you for your tolerance as I read out all the details. The details are what I want you to have. This is definitely looks like a deal should be made. Um, the last piece of information from Always before we end the night here. Thank you. Stephen Tubbs stated that when he appeared in court, he seemed to be completely out of it. Also said he seemed to have gained weight since Tubbs had seen him. He does. If you, I will bring up before and after pictures for you on our next update. Actually, I'll put them on the community tab. That way I don't have to make you wait. Well, thank you, book lover. I'm hoping you guys could tolerate my mispronunciations and my skips. It is frustrating when you know who the people are, but they've redacted it. I hope you guys will give me the grace to know that I'm not throwing anybody's name out there that isn't being publicly reported everywhere already. I didn't want to be the first to do it. I don't really like to do that kind of stuff, but I'm not violating anyone because like it's too late. It's already it's already out there. It's already done. I it's just very frustrating to say blank and blink when the very next sentence says the name. It's frustrating to say the least. I thank you all for being here. I'm gonna do another one of these this week. I think if you're all into it, let's talk about Stephen Smith. What do you think? There's Stephen Smith, and I'm also looking into the Rose Petal murder. We're going to be adding them. And then watch the community tab. I'll be putting an updated list of all the trials that are coming up for April that we have to keep an eye on, that we have all been covering together for a while. Starch and Vallow and Masterson. All this is coming. All this is coming to a head. Okay. Just put the dates out there for us to all be wary of. Okay. Also, I'm going to put the consent leak that I promised to put out before on the Fry's consent from Planned Parenthood. Very relevant in the Masterson case. There's a small update on that. I'm just going to do a little bit of blib on there. But thank you, Liam. I hate to actually make jokes sometimes, but I do. I know they just absolutely. The comment section on some of that stuff is ridiculous, isn't it? They will tear people apart, and I hate it. I really do. Are there any more documentaries about the cases that you've covered? There is. I can find you the link to the one that was recently done that included Stephen Smith. There are some more information, yes. And yeah, Masterson is supposed to be for April 11th, Harold. But on Masterson, that may get delayed because Philip Cohen in the pretrial meetings that they've had has come up with a lot of opposition to witnesses, to how he wants things conducted, just like last time. We're not going to remember last time we can't say Scientology. Let's not talk about Scientology when the whole case is about like the reason they didn't get to report it was Scientology. Everybody involved in the case is a Scientologist. Okay, but let's not mention the name. People might get a bad vibe. Wonder what that's about. Wonder why. Now we're all responsible for the bad reputation of Scientology. Not them, but us. Anyway, that's going to be a good one. I think that case may get delayed from the 11th based on the amount of motions that Philip Cohen put out today. Paperwork. Have a good night, everybody. I'm going to call it.
check the community tab. We'll be doing another one of these during the week. Also, just a reminder that my Pet Passion Culture Conversations is out there on YouTube, and it's also as a podcast for those of you that like to listen instead of watch. It's been accepted on Apple and Google and Spotify and iHeart and even Amazon. I did get a notification from Amazon too. So those links are in the description of the video. And I think I'll do a community tab just to give them to you because I'd appreciate the follow out there on podcasts if you do like to listen to podcasts, because I'd like to grow it and keep putting those conversations out for you guys. So thanks. And I appreciate your support. Don't forget to like, share, comment, do the YouTubey thing so I don't have to talk about it so much. Come on, cut me a break. I hate talking about that stuff. But anyway, have a good night and we'll see you all real soon.